Fresno. Thank you for joining us on the Positively Fresno show. I'm your host, Janine Klein, and today I have Liset Garcia from Reedley, California, and she is the owner of Sweet Girl Farms. And she is on the Fresno County Blossom Trail, and right now, during the last couple weeks of February into March, all of the blossoms are blooming, and it's really beautiful, and she's right there along it, so we can stop by her farm and see what's going on. So what's blooming right now, or has it bloomed yet?
So we are at the very beginning of the bloom at our farm, and my farm is located in Reedley. The address is 8358 South Alta Avenue. You can look me up as Sweet Girl Farms on those socials so that you get a sense of where I am. And I'm along the Blossom Trail, and on the farm we have a variety of stone fruits so that they bloom from right now all the way up into maybe early March. And the first that we start off with are our early nectarines. So that's what we get to see right now at the farm. And all around the area there in Reedley, there's a lot of plums starting to bloom, other early variety peaches and nectarines, and it's looking beautiful.
And then also on your stand there that's on the farm right now, you have your winter season produce. And so
Yes.
that's from December to March as well as the winter season. So what do you have there at your farm that you're selling?
Right, so I'm a year-round farm stand because I thought it was nice for me to highlight that in all seasons of the year here in the Central Valley, we have such a great abundance of produce. And to me, that's what's special about the valley. And right now, we are in the middle of citrus season, so there's a lot of oranges, pomelos, grapefruits, mandarins, and there's two that I want to highlight that I currently have right now, which is the Caracara Orange. It's a pink-fleshed navel orange that is a popular year after year with our customers, and it's extremely sweet because of its low acidity, so that makes it really wonderful as a snack. And then we have a local grower that I've connected with, and they are providing some Mandarosa Mandarins, which is a hybrid between a clementine and a blood orange, but it has that easy peel texture of a mandarin with the juiciness of the blood orange, so it's phenomenal. And the color is just pretty to look at as well because it's a deep red flesh. And then aside from that, I'm growing a lot of veggies at the farm stand. So my focus with the farm stand is to have everything that is locally grown. And I do a lot of the growing myself, and I do flowers. So there's a lot of cut flowers that I started off doing. That's how everything initiated. And right now, they're starting to sprout, which hopefully we will have for Mother's Day. I'm really hoping that that'll be the case. It all depends on the weather. And then aside from that, I do veggies, and it depends on the season. So right now, there's a lot of leafy greens. And then in the summertime, we can't have summer if it's not with tomatoes, cucumbers, zucchini, squash, and of course the cut flowers. And then in the highlight of everyone is like our grapes. There's a specific variety of grapes that year after year customers come back for. And you just have to come out and visit. It's really, look, as someone that's not from the valley, I really appreciate how much we can cultivate in our area, how much we can grow, and like I said, grow year round. And that's really why I have the fruit stand, so that we can highlight the beauty that we have and also provide food to the community at an accessible price, because sometimes one of the things that customers say a lot is that they go to the stores, but they can't find what they want, even though they see it growing on the roads. And to me, that's just a contradiction to have once in the place that we are so abundant in produce. So that's also the reason that I do the farm stand, and I'm there year round. So it's really fun to get to talk to the community. And if you ever have any questions, then you can ask me. I try to take the time to talk to individuals so that they can cultivate and grow food on their own, because that's one of the goals that I feel is important, so that we can consume fresh produce that's nutritious, and also it's fun for the family to do.
And you right now have Mandarosa juice.
Yes.
Now that's really popular in restaurants here in the Central Valley use it for their cocktails and their bars. And what local restaurants have your Mandarosa juice?
Yes. Okay. So the juice, the Mandarosa juice launched very recently when I connected with one of the local growers there in Reedley. And that's when I was able to produce the juice. And currently Shepherd's Inn has the juice and they're using it for their cocktails. Yeah, so that's really exciting. That's something that I never expected. I was like, wow, that's really cool. And then I know that Shepherd's Inn also uses the pomegranate juice, so it just depends on season and what is available that people can get in terms of juice. Yeah.
And is your produce in Shepherd's Inn's market as well?
Yeah, right now it's mostly the juice, and then hopefully later on more produce can be supplied to Shepherd's Inn.
How large is your farm? Or do you do it all by yourself?
There's portions that I do everything on my own. So the cut flowers, the herbs, the veggies, the farm stand, the marketing, everything that you see me put on social media and whatever I do show there, that's all that I do. And then I have a lot of help from my family because it is an entire, well, it's two families. My family, so my direct parents, brothers, and then myself, and then my uncle who is, who also handles another farm in Orange Cove. And then that's how I'm able to supply so much variety at the farm stand. So I can have a lot of peaches, cherries, grapes, watermelons, cantaloupes, and honey. So there's a lot of products that I try to supply. And that's how it's able to be possible with two families with different growing different things on their farms, and then myself, including the cut flowers. That's something that was not done prior to me coming to the farm, and then the herbs, and then a lot of the veggies as well. And then we recently did the farm stand, so yeah.
And you're there on South Alta Avenue in Reedley and along the Blossom Trail. And so you started with cut flowers, and then you just got more popular and then evolved into your radishes, cilantro. And on her TikTok and YouTube, she's always having fun showing what she's picking, and it always looks so beautiful. I want to eat it through the screen. And, and so tell us about your social media sites so people can see what you're doing, because you're really showcasing what it is to be a farmer.
Yes, please follow me on all social medias, which include TikTok as Sweet Girl Farms, Instagram, Sweet Girl Farms, Facebook, Sweet Girl Farms, my website, sweetgirlfarms.com. I have a YouTube channel as well. You can find me there as Sweet Girl Farms. So on all social media platforms. And I try to do a lot of behind the scenes work with my posts on all social media platforms, so that if people do have questions, then they can ask me right then and there while I'm actually working. And also so that you get a feel of the work, I guess, is one of the things that I want to highlight as ag workers, that it involves a lot of things. It's not just growing or putting something into the ground and letting it grow by itself. You have to actually have a love for it. It's an art, I feel. And sometimes that can be overlooked because we are so abundant here in the valley that it's like, oh, look at me, just have an orange, whatever. But it's really an art to grow all of that stuff, not only just to grow it, but also to have good quality produce. Yeah.
Where do you get your seeds, or how do you start? Where does that come from?
Okay, so yeah, depending on what type of seeds I'm going to plant, then that's where I'll source. So if it's for flowers, I have certain outlets that I look for. One company in particular, because I love to grow sunflowers, they're called Sunflower Selections, and they're out of San Diego, I believe, or somewhere in the SoCal area. I hope I'm not mistaken on that. But they have a wide range of sunflowers, and then if I'm going to do veggies, then I source from another place that specializes in veggies. So it just depends what I'm going to start. And most of the veggies, actually all of the veggies and flowers that you see on the farm are all grown from seeds. So I don't buy plants out. I start everything on my own because I want to first see what I'm good at growing by myself and what does well here in the valley. Because that's the other thing that I feel I get a lot of questions on. What does well here in our area since we're so hot in the summertime? And I feel it's important to, if someone does want to start their own garden and start or farming, so at a bigger scale, then at least they have some knowledge or someone that has done it before to look to and see what they grow, aside from all the major crops that we have here in the valley.
And it takes patience.
Oh, yes.
It's not a hurry up. It's plant seeds, and then some of them produce and others just don't. Right? So what is the percentage you think if you feel you've done everything you're supposed to, is, if you get 75% of it to produce a flower or radishes, is that a good harvest or is it more?
So I feel I get a higher percentage than 75%. But as a first timer, I didn't have that success. There was a lot of, and even now, I've still had like major crops fail. So there's been a good chunk of seasons that all of my veggies have not sprouted, or something went wrong where I then am empty with an entire season's worth of crop. So it does take time. What you just said right now, having a lot of patience to grow things is so hard because you want to see the results, within a matter of like a month or so. But for some veggies, that's why I also said that it was an art, because you kind of have to work with it and let nature also do its thing. You can't just go and try to control how things are going to grow. And so that's been an adjustment to seeing what I should focus on. So the cut flowers, like I said, the sunflowers in particular, I try to go heavy on because one, they do well, and then in terms of environment, and two, a lot of people like. So if I have that response, and that's how I know what to focus in. And then the other crop, like for example, tomatoes, it's not summer without tomatoes, like if you can't have them. So that's why I try to focus on that. It's also having to do a lot of connecting with the community and seeing what they want. And that's why when I explain the farm stand, it has a special meaning to me, because it really is for me to have produce for my community. It's not to just be a business. It's also to connect with people and let them have a place where they, like if someone requested me, I want you to grow this, I'd highly consider it, which I have had customers bring me seeds, and now I'm going to start planting those seeds for that particular customer. So
what are you going to plant for them?
There's a cucumber, a melon cucumber. It's a very specialty type of cucumber, and it's a small cucumber that's yellow with white stripes. So a customer brought me seeds, so thank you so much. And then they also wanted me to grow them the rainbow beets and rainbow carrots. Yeah. So that, and just like that customer, I've had other customers that bring me specific herbs and things that I'm not familiar with that they know do well here, but they don't have the time to allocate to growing stuff. So that I'm more than happy to do that too.
How do you keep the birds and the squirrels? How do you keep them from? I've seen CDs hanging, like little CDs, something that reflects light. What do you do? How do you keep them from eating everything? The rabbits.
Okay, so ideally, I would have a place where it's just my seeding area. I don't have a closed environment for all my seedlings, and so they are exposed to all the environment. And yeah, it's very difficult, because when I said that I've had a season's worth of crop pretty much just gone to waste, it was because either birds or rodents got into my trays and then they ate everything. So I still haven't really learned how to mitigate that, unless I have a special barrier to put against those type of challenges. And so I just try to be more vigilant on where I place my seeds so that they're not at easy access for such things as birds to go and peck out my sunflower seeds. That's a very specific example because that's what's happened.
Well, I have an apricot tree in my backyard, and the squirrels and the birds eat every single one. I think I got a couple last year, and I don't know how to get them. And they're all plump and fat, having all these fruits but without pulling out a shotgun and killing them or something. But that's kind of inhumane, and I don't recommend it. But I get kind of mad at it. I'm like, oh, I want those squirrels out of here. They're eating all my apricots. But so let me see what else. Oh, you have jams. Do you make your own jams?
So the jams that are on the farm stand, my friend Christy from Busy Ant makes the jams. However, I provide a lot of the fruit, and if not, my friend Christy goes through local berry farmers, because I don't grow any strawberries or blackberries, blueberries. I haven't gotten into that ball game. It's too much for me to handle right now. So she goes and sources from different berry farmers in the area, whether it be Reedley or Dinuba, and then she makes her own jams from that produce. And then alongside that, I also supply her a lot of fruit from the farm that we grow. And that's how we're able to have this locally made jam with local produce. So it's also really nice for me to help other businesses out, because those are the people that help me out. So I really feel blessed in that sense that we're able to collaborate, and just like I'm doing with Shepherd's Inn, where they're supporting me to having local juice. And then hopefully there's other businesses that soon I'll be in other places to find the juices. And then, the jams is something special from Christy.
And also, you can ship to wherever you want, because you have an online store on your website that shows everything that she's growing, and as long as it's not perishable and it can make it through the postal service and still be edible. So what is good to get if you live in Sacramento and you wanted to order something? What would you recommend that would make it that far? Yeah,
so it also depends on the season, but as a main thing that I ship is honey and my peanuts, pumpkin seeds, or walnuts if I have them available, because I know that those can make it through the transit. And I've shipped honey all over the U.S. and it's been fine. So even if you're outside of California, I can still ship stuff, and then I know it'll make it fine. And then currently I am shipping some of the Caracara Oranges, so if someone were interested, this is a perfect time to get those shipped to you or shipped somewhere else, like as a gift. I think the Caracaras would be a really nice gift, because they're really pretty to look at. It's a pink flesh, and they're really sweet. I actually just shipped some to Texas, so it's my first time shipping to Texas. So I hope that the people that receive them enjoy them. So as long as the products are able to withstand the journey of being shipped, because the boxes tend to get tossed around a lot. So I try to make sure everything's nicely packaged, and then off it goes to its new destination. So that's something that I recently have been doing, and if someone is interested, they can go ahead and shoot me a message either through Instagram or Facebook, and then we can get that settled. I'll give you the shipping rates, and then depending on what products you want to include, then I can give you a total, and then that's how that works. Or if you see anything on my website at sweetgirlfarms.com, then you can definitely just let me know, hey, Liset, I'm interested in this. And then I can work stuff out and give you a list also of things that are available if there's something on the website that I might have an addition on the side.
Liset, thank you for this wonderful information you've given us, and go check out her social media and her website, because it's really interesting to watch a farmer in action, because of so much that goes into it. And like you said, we just have the luxury of picking an orange off of a tree and eating it, but there's so much goes into it, and farming is a knack, and it's an art form. And thank you so much for coming here, and I can't wait to go visit her stand. I'm going to go over there, because I've never seen the Blossom Trail. I've always wanted to. I never knew what time of the year it was, and so now and through the
right now the perfect time.
First week of March is the time to go, and it'd be really stunning out there, I bet, with all the pretty flowers.
Definitely. Yes, thank you so much, and I appreciate the work that you do, Janine.
Oh, thank you. And stay tuned, because I have one more guest, the Fools Collaborative, coming on shortly. So thank you, Fresno, and we'll see you soon. helping with spreading the word about saving the Tower District. As you may be aware, there is a group, a church that is in escrow buying the Tower Theater, and there are some concerns about what would take place if this were to happen. And so Miguel is the president and marketing director of the Fools Collaborative, and he has a ton of information for us about what it is they're doing and to help support the Tower District and the Tower Theater and the community of the people that live around this area. Hi, Miguel.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. And I want you to tell our viewers exactly what it is you're doing and to help support the Tower Theater.
Yeah, absolutely. The Food Collaborative is one of the organizations who is kind of taking the lead along with the Rogue Festival and a smattering of community members to lead the charge of a public demonstration every Sunday on the corner of Olive and Washong, right across the street from the Tower Theater. Our purpose is to kind of bring awareness to the cause of the sale and what would eventually lead to a rezone of the theater and its implications kind of for the surrounding businesses that would really affect and harm the charm and character of the Tower District as we know it. As if the theater is rezoned as a church, it could affect the liquor licenses of the surrounding businesses because with the zoning laws, no one can have a liquor license within 1,000 feet of the theater, which is pretty much the entire district. So that's really, we're kind of bringing awareness to that, kind of fighting for the local businesses who have been in Tower District for years, including, Good Company Players, who is across the street from the Tower Theater, and the church that wants to buy the theater has been having regular meetings indoors during the entire pandemic, while GCP has sat with their doors closed because they are following the COVID protocols. So that was another big thing. It's like this theater says it cares about the community, but then while the community has come together to follow these protocols to keep everyone safe, yet they've continued to defy local ordinance and state ordinance and hold indoor services. Again, while other businesses sat shut. So really just bringing awareness to what's going on and really kind of fighting for those local businesses and also being a voice of the people and the community of Tower District.
And the Tower Theater is such a historic building in our city, and people from all over the United States, entertainers and visitors, come to see the Tower Theater or to perform there. What would happen if the church takes over? Will we still concerts and things like that in the Tower Theater?
Yeah. So what the church has been saying is that they're still going to the Tower does host theater, is kind of home base for Rogue Festival. It hosts the Real Pride, the Gay and Lesbian Film Festival. And they said that they would still allow those things to happen. But I mean, we're just kind of holding them at their word for that. There's no contractual obligation for them to continue to hold those events. And if they do continue to hold those events, I mean, what is that going to look like? Are they going to have, literature out in the lobby as well as congregation members, like trying to get people to come to their church? Is there going to be like, are they going to show church trailer before each film or something like that? Like, we don't know. And that's kind of the issue at hand is they're not explicitly anti-LGBTQ, but their church, they're part of a larger congregation of churches called Foursquare churches, who believe marriage is between one man, one woman. So they're very love the sinner, hate the sin mentality, which can also be dangerous. And we've had several people who have come from a religious background who came from similar churches who have spoke of those experiences and how damaging that has been to them. And so I think that is something to consider when they say that they will continue to hold Real Pride and things like that, things that are and allow the Pride Festival or I'm sorry, Rogue Festival in the space, which the neighborhood and those events are clearly LGBTQ plus friendly events. So that's kind of our concern too. Like, yes, you're not explicitly anti-LGBTQ, but you sure aren't welcoming either. So yeah, did I answer your question? I feel like
and then also is I have noticed that there are city council members and our new mayor, Jerry Dyer, who have also been reaching out to Adventure Church to see if there could be some negotiations and other things that could mitigate things on both sides. Have you heard of anything new recently about what's been going on?
No, not beyond anything on this city level. Also, our group, which actually we've given ourselves our names, it's the Save the Tower Save the Tower Demonstration Committee. Um, so we also spearheaded a letter writing campaign, and we wrote a letter that we had over 2,100 signatures, a public letter of dissent. We also wrote a letter, a community request for injunctive relief, which had nearly 1,000 signatures from Tower community members, businesses, and community organizers. And what was and then yeah, so that was as far as our involvement with like engaging with the city. And the last thing I know that the city did was offering the Veterans Memorial Auditorium as an alternative to the Tower Theater. So and then but I'm sure you're aware that on this past Friday, Sequoia Brewing Company, as well as the Painted Table, filed an injunction because they're saying the sale is a breach of contract, that they have first right of refusal, and that they were not granted that opportunity to do that when they were only notified of the sale of the theater once it was in escrow. So they are actually seeking legal actions to have their rights represented and actually be given an opportunity to purchase the theater. So that is the more bigger side of the news. And so yeah.
And then also on your social media, Instagram, the Fools Collaborative, you have the link tree that gives your different sites that have information where people can get involved, find information, donate money.
Yes.
What is that all about?
Yeah. So we have there are two different funds you can donate to. There's a fund for the demonstration committee, and that is just to help offset any costs that we might incur. But also, what we're really hoping to do with that fund is provide grants for local businesses who might need for local tower businesses who might need some kind of COVID relief, because again, like we said, another big issue we had was that the church was continuing to meet indoors despite COVID relief, while the entire district was adhering to policies. So we have that, and then the main fund right now that we're calling people to donate for is the Sequoia Brewing GoFundMe, which is to help cover the legal fees for them to file their injunction. So, and I think it's more than halfway to its goal at this point. It was just released last Thursday, I think, something like that. So, and that was really cool to see how many people have kind of pitched in to help with this cause.
And then also the protests that you have been doing across the street on Sundays from 8 to 12 p.m. You have permission from the owner of that lot to be there, so people need not be afraid that they're trespassing or anything like that if they go and join in the protests. And you provide signs, and people can make their own signs. And so you're having just a community-based, peaceful protest. And what's it been like out there? What's the energy? What are the people doing? Has anybody from Adventure Church been coming out there to be, advocating for their side?
No, not. There have been members of other churches who have come out. I know there were some Cornerstone members out, not this past weekend, but the one before. And that weekend before, we actually had a lot of counter protesters. We had Benjamin Martin was out there, which he's the one who's been leading these anti-mask protests at Trader Joe's and Sprouts and stuff. That was kind of in the news recently. And then there's this group, these two guys, they call themselves the Oreo Express, who are this very right-wing. They're kind of paid for play. Like they go to any kind of protests you go to town, they're there just to instigate and to upset people. And they were actually at the Capitol on January 6th. So they're just not very great guys. So they've been out there consistently. And then there was like maybe like 5 other people the past weekend, but just the one that we had 2 days ago, it was the singular Oreo Express guy. His partner stopped coming out, and then one supporter of the church. So we thought it was going to be more since we got so much national attention this past week with Sarah Silverman and Otter McDonald, retweeting about the cause. Um, but no, our numbers grew. I mean, I think we had probably close to 100 protesters, which was probably the largest we've had in the 6 weeks we've been out there. So
And what do you think the impact will have with Sarah Silverman and Audra Donald with the national impact of it getting the news? Do you think that'll shift the change, or has it just been a flash in the pan where Sarah Silverman mentioned it and then you kind of haven't heard anything from them again?
yeah, I mean that is kind of what it's been. I mean, in terms of the effects locally, I think it definitely raised the awareness more, or at least encourage people to be a little more vocal about it, I think. And so yeah, and like I said, it really increased our numbers on Sunday, which we think is the most important thing, is to have the people out there. Um, and now that we do have permission to use the parking lot, this past weekend was the first weekend we actually got permission. We've just been having our on the sidewalk, which is a public space. But so now that we've pulled back, we have more space to have more people out there safely. Um, and so hopefully that attention keeps growing in that sense, that it just encourages local people to come out and stand there with us in solidarity, or donate online, whatever it is. Just any kind of support locally, I think is more important. And the national attention is fantastic and great, but I really think local support is more important, in my opinion.
I agree. The community and someone needs to buy it if they can, and it's being sold for $6 million, correct? If
yeah, $6.5 million. So, like I mentioned, it was already an escrow. The church was already an escrow to purchase the theater. So the injunction that was filed on Friday by Sequoia Brewing and the Painted Table um, is supposedly supposed to stop that. I don't know any legal stuff at all, so I can't speak confidently on that. But that was the goal: is that the injunction would stop the escrow until all of the contractual obligations of the Tower Theater current owner and tenants is figured out.
And on a side note about the Fools Collaborative, you have members and you do other um, things
Yes.
with members alongside um, being activists towards special things that are close to all of you. What are those other things? So if someone who is involved in theater or wants to join the Fools Collaborative, what do they do?
Yeah, so the Fools Collaborative actually started 4 years ago as a kind of group of random collection of people locally who wanted to do something to celebrate the 400th anniversary of Shakespeare's death with a month-long events. So there was like readings, there was a 24-hour play festival, there were movie nights, we did events out at the park, just a bunch of different things. And then after that ended, everyone was kind of like, we had fun doing stuff together. Like, let's keep doing stuff. And so um, at first it was just like random pop-up events. Like we did a site-specific play at the Clovis Tea House when it used to be that same year. And then we've done a couple, we do like annual cabarets to help raise funds for the Pride Festival. We've done holiday cabarets. Now have an annual holiday cabaret to raise funds. This last year we raised funds for the victims of the Creek Fire. That is something that we have always done. Is every event we do, the proceeds always benefit a organization, a local organization, or sometimes a national organization that's doing work that we find important and that we want to support. So that is a big part of our mission, is to enrich the community, not just with our art, but also with our money that we raise and give back to help those organizations. So yeah, we do a bunch of different things. We have a annual rogue show that we do called Swill, which is a drunk Shakespeare thing. So yeah, we have not had such a large activist involvement as we have with the Tower Theater like this. So, but yeah, anyone can be involved. We always welcome new members. Really, anyone who performs once with us, we consider them a member. So there's not like some application process or like strenuous process to become a member of the Fools Collaborative. And really just anyone who has any kind of creative idea that we want to help, they want to bring to us. And if it's something that interests us and the group at large, it's something that we'll pursue. So we're really just looking for people who want to do stuff, but also have the motivation and the energy to put, power behind their idea. Because obviously it is a collaborative. So it's not, we're not going to, we encourage our members to put in the work to get what they want done, if that makes sense.
And one of those members is Leah with Foolin' Around, where she interviews theater professionals, and it's on Facebook Live. And and so who is she? She's so cute. She has the cutest guests on there. And what is she like?
Leah was actually she actually doesn't live in Fresno anymore. She lives in Ohio, but because of COVID and because of the online nature of so many things, it was kind of easy to do an online show where she could interview local members of the Fools who are still kind of doing stuff in the community throughout this pandemic. She's been involved with a number of our events. One of the big things she worked on was an event called Identity, which was a evening of scenes and poetry that had to do with identity, like how you see yourself, how the world sees yourself. So she actually wrote an original piece for that. But she has since moved to Ohio. She's getting her master's degree at Ohio State in theater. She's actually in the process of applying to some PhD programs. So she is, getting herself educated in theater, which is fantastic. So we love having her. She's super smart and does great interviews with people who are still doing stuff here locally. So yeah, it's been really fun. It's weekly. It's every Friday at 6 o'clock on our Facebook. And then after that, it stays on our Facebook. Definitely, you can watch whenever.
And that's the Fools Collaborative. Is that the Facebook page that the viewers can find you? And what are all the platforms you have so everybody knows where they can get their information or how to become a member?
Yeah, we are on Facebook, on Instagram, and Twitter. Our website has links to all of these social media channels, as well as information about what you can do to help with the Tower Theater, and that's FresnoFools.com, FresnoFools.com. That's always the best place to kind of check. We do a pretty good job of keeping that updated with what's current and stuff. And like I said, we do have now a specific assets page for our Saint Tower efforts.
Miguel, thank you for this information, and thank you for doing what you're doing. And I appreciate you coming on the show. I know you're busy and you have a lot going on, and taking the time and sharing the information you have about the Tower Theater and your collaborative that you're putting together that is broad enough to have everybody welcome who enjoys theater, who wants to be a part of a theater community. And I appreciate what you're doing. And come back anytime and share more information with us anytime. Okay?
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate you helping us amplify our voice for the Tower Theater movement as well.
Absolutely. Take care. I'll see you soon, Fresno. Thank you for watching us today.